true productivity isn't about doing more, it's about achieving more. If it's urgent but not important, you, the business owner, should not be doing it. The 80-20 principle is massive. Time audits are a really great way to see where's my time going and am I getting a return? And you will be shocked. If you're being reactive, you're being busy. You're not actually producing. So you could work all day, every day, and have little to show for it, including profit. Do you want to eliminate or delegate those tasks that don't directly support your objective? We have to change your behavior if you want to change the outcomes. If you are falling prey to that, I'll just do it myself mentality, you're on a hamster wheel, friend. You got to get off of it. I believe that this is the most crucial skill set. The most productive business owners understand that true productivity isn't about doing more, it's about achieving more. They focus on high impact activities that are driving results, that are driving revenue, increasing profits, and they aren't afraid to let go of tasks that don't contribute significantly to their goals. Here are 5 strategies that set apart ultra productive business owners. And the last one is by far what I consider the most important. I have been able to create not one, but 2 multi-million-dollar businesses. I'm an author, a podcaster, a mom of 2. I have a lot on my plate. And I always get the question, Stacy, how do you get it all done? Well, let's dive into these 5 strategies because these are things you should be doing immediately. Number 1, mastering the art of prioritization. Highly productive business owners excel at prioritization. They understand that not all tasks are created equal, and they focus their energy on activities that yield the highest return. So a couple things. Number 1, they might be in the middle of a to-do list and realize, wait, this is not urgent. I need to fix this and go to this instead, right? They're able to juggle many things coming their way and realize that's a thank you, but I'll have to do that later. We're going to get to that on Thursday, or oh my goodness, I need to stop in the middle of what I'm doing because that is so urgent. So a couple key techniques is 1, the Eisenhower matrix. Now this helps you decide how urgent, how important, and you go from there. So the structure and quadrants are divided into 4 separate areas. So number 1 is if this is urgent and important, you do this first. Very obvious. Number 2, it's important, but it's not urgent. So you schedule it, right? Where does it go on your calendar? Sometimes business owners, we are just so type A and we want to check the boxes. We want to get things done. So we do something way faster than we need to. If it's not due for 3 weeks and you have other urgent and important tasks, do those first. Schedule the not urgent ones for later. Number 3, it's urgent but not important. Okay, delegate it, right? If it's urgent but not important, you, the business owner, should not be doing it. I have 2 businesses and both teams have well over 30 employees in each business, okay? So I am a big believer in building a team and delegate. Now, you start small. You start with 1 hire at a time. So even just an assistant will help you with being able to delegate in number 3, urgent but not important. Number 4, not urgent, not important. Why is it on your to-do list? You have so much stuff on your to-do list. I know as a business owner, there's a million things. If it's not urgent, not important, just literally it's a not right now strategy. Another thing you can think about is implementing the 80-20 rule, okay? So this is the Pareto principle. You've probably heard of it, and it identifies the most impactful activities. Now, the concept, and it's so crazy how it's true, right, is that roughly 80% of what is happening comes from 20% of what you're doing. So let's say marketing, okay? I had an example or a client that is a great example of this. She said, I get lots of referrals, okay? And she was just continuing to make referral partners with all of these different businesses because she knew that referrals is where it was coming from. So I said to her, have you ever specifically asked, like, yes, I know it's coming from that referral, but have you started asking which business, these were business referrals, have you started asking what business they were coming from? And she's like, oh, no, I think they just marked down referral. I'm like, ask them. So guess what happens? All of a sudden, we're noticing that like 80% of referrals are coming from one business. So she was spending, we do a time audit every 90 days. And on her time audit, she was spending hours and hours making new connections, driving around town, going to these businesses, trying to like build this thing. And really, she could have sat down with one person, right? And built a bigger, better referral program with just him and blown up the business even more. So the 80-20 principle is massive. Time audits are a really great way to see where's my time going and am I getting a return? And you will be shocked. One of the things we guarantee in our program is that we'll reduce business owners' time by 25%. It is the easiest guarantee for me to say. Why? Because I have yet to meet a business owner that is actually productive 100% of the time. So one of my sweet spots is to look at a time audit and go, scrap this 25%. It's not producing. So they can just literally scrap it off the calendar. They don't even have to replace it if they don't want to, make 0 changes, and all of a sudden your revenue stays the same. Now, what's even cooler is if you make 0 changes, your revenue is going to stay the same, right? Because you're not producing more. But what you can do is scrap the 25%, put in the productive, right? The positive ROI. So all of a sudden she goes back to that one brick and mortar location and she says, hey, let's build a bigger, better referral program. She spends a few more hours with that person and the numbers start to go up, right? That's the kind of power of the Pareto principle, okay? So regularly review and adjust your priorities to be in alignment. And I am readjusting my priorities on a weekly basis, right? Possibly even on a daily basis. I'm asking myself, as a business owner, I'm getting hit by, my direct reports. Maybe an escalation comes to me. Hey, this customer is needing this, right? What do you think? This is even a system. So I have to constantly ask myself, where does this actually get prioritized? I will tell you, with working with hundreds of business owners, not only does the business owner typically struggle with prioritization, 10 times more than that, your employees or contractors struggle with prioritization. So we've got to get you good at prioritizing. From there, you have to make sure your team really understands what is priority so you're getting things done in a timely manner. I used to have an employee who's great, but she loved to check boxes. So she would check the easiest, fastest boxes. But a lot of times those weren't the most important. So my big number 1 would sit at the top being unanswered, not worked on, but everything else was getting crossed off. And I'm like, no, that's the only one I want. Get rid of everything else, right? So help your team with prioritization. Number 2, understanding the difference between being busy and being productive. So productive business owners recognize that doesn't mean you're actually being busy doesn't actually get you results. Working, 20 extra hours this week than your competitor doesn't necessarily get you extra results. So you want to be more focused on outcomes rather than hours worked. I see business owners have this identity of I work, 7 days a week, or I work 70 hours or 80 hours or fill in the blank, right? But that's not a badge of honor, right? That does not make me think, oh, they're so successful. I'm thinking, wow, they're probably getting burnt out. This isn't sustainable. I wonder how long they're going to make it doing this, right? So you want to shift from being busy to being productive. So the first thing that I would suggest with this is really getting clear, measurable goals for each, really, let's say annual, quarter, month, week, day, right? So I start with my annual, and then it's well, what am I doing this quarter based off of the annual? What am I doing this month based off of the quarter? What am I doing this week based off of this month? What am I doing today based off of this week? Most people don't do that. They are reactive. They don't have ideas. I have my top 3 right in here. I know what I'm doing today, right? Most people just sit down in their office and they're waiting to get pinged, right? They're checking email. They're being reactive. They're answering their phone. They're texting back. They're slacking back. They're emailing back. They're sitting at their front desk inside of the business or in an office with the door open and letting every single person come and interrupt them, clients, team, etc. So if you're being reactive, you're being busy. You're not actually producing. So you could work all day, every day, and have little to show for it, including profit. Okay. So you want to evaluate your activities based on what are they contributing to the big goal, right? Here's what I worked on today. Okay. Well, how is that helping me, right? What is that doing, right? So right now I'm recording something, right? This is going on YouTube, on our podcast, etc. Okay. Well, is that really necessary? Okay. Well, when I look at my big goals, right? When I look at what I'm trying to accomplish this year, why would I record something like this? Well, this not only is going on those places and could convert a brand new person to us to be like, wow, this is really good. I need to learn more, right? So that fuels our funnel. It feeds our funnel, but they also strip all of this stuff for Instagram. We make a lot of money off of Instagram. Our Instagram is our biggest organic platform. People go to our Instagram, they binge all of our content and they're like, tell me more, right? So this is an excellent use of my time to be here because it contributes to the bigger goal of me being on a mission to empower as many small business owners as I can through well-oiled operations. Now, if I was like, oh, I record this podcast and we don't really have a following and nobody really listens to it and I'm not repurposing it and it's just really good content, which people do all the time, right? You're wasting your time. But I know for me, this is like our top of funnel and it produces all the way through. Okay. Now, the third piece of this is you want to eliminate or delegate those tasks that don't directly support your objectives. Hey, are you a business owner that's looking to not just increase their revenue, but actually have it positively impact your profit without you working more? Because let's be honest, there isn't any more time in the day. If so, I want to invite you to my free training called Protect Your Profit. I'm going to be breaking down our 3-part well-oiled operations framework. We're going to be going over the plan, the people, and the process. This training is completely free. We've already had over 100,000 small business owners join us, as this is one of our most popular trainings in Your Unlock because we've got another one coming up very soon and it will be live. The strategy I'll share in this training is how we landed on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in America list the last 2 years in a row. And I'll show you how to create a winning team of revenue generators, people that actually make you money, not cost you money, even if you don't think you can afford it. Go to welloiledclass.com and get registered for free. You'll walk away from this session with strategies you can actually implement and apply immediately, as well as I'll be gifting my 16-page hiring handbook, how to recruit, hire, and train top-tier talent. So come hang out with me and a few other 100 small business owners who are all looking to scale their business while scaling back their time. So get signed up for free at welloiledclass.com or click the link in the show notes and I will see you there. So sometimes it's like, well, no, that has to happen. But it's not towards the big goal. Okay, great. Well, that shouldn't be on me as the business owner to do. So who can I delegate to? Number 3, you want to track return on investment, ROI. Whenever I say ROI, I'm shocked how many people say, what does ROI mean? Return on investment. And you want to reset your calendar based off of what you are finding. So successful business owners, right, consistently measure return on investment of their time, their activities, their money. They use this data to make informed decisions about where to focus their efforts more, right? So for me, I always say, like, is it a revenue generator or is it an expense? So I say yes to things all the time when I'm like, this is a revenue generator. Like, yes, I know that if we could hire this person, it'll make more than it costs us. Wow, if we could invest in that program and that key person on my team could learn that skill set, that will help her lead the rest of the people, 1000% return on investment, right? I start to make decisions about where I'm spending my money, where I'm spending my time, right? I always laugh when I'm on like a live training and we're like 45 minutes in and this person's like, I haven't learned anything the entire time. I'm like, wow, well then that tells me you literally don't have the skill set of ROI. Why would you sit somewhere for 45 minutes on like Zoom voluntarily? I wouldn't even know if you left. So you're not being rude by leaving, right? If you're still there 45 minutes, I'm like, wow, dude, 45 minutes it took you to realize there was no value for you? Dang, right? Like, get out of here. What are you doing? And then usually the chat blows up and they're like, I have pages and pages of notes, right? It's just not my person. But my point is, if that person is struggling with understanding ROI of your time, understanding ROI of your activities, right? So what's nice is you're watching this right now, probably on YouTube or the podcast, right? So what I like about you spending time doing this is so much better than Instagram scrolling. Instagram scrolling, and I am guilty of it. So trust me when I'm not shaming anybody for scrolling on Instagram, but Instagram scrolling, we're getting these bite-sized little clips and some things aren't even valuable. It's like, oh, that's what you ate today. Great. That's the color you painted your nails. Awesome, right? It is giving us literally zero value. So the fact that you are choosing time right now, maybe on YouTube or the podcast or wherever you're watching, right? You are measuring the ROI of your investment of time on these platforms. This is actually a great place to be investing your time, right? Books, podcasts when they're long form content versus short form and you're getting barely anything out of it. And by the time you even hear the nugget, you're on to the next random person's breakfast and you don't even remember what you learned, right? So it's really, really important to really assess. So I'm a big YouTuber. I go on YouTube very, very often because I like the long form pieces of content. It feels good to me where I feel like I'm actually taking away ahas and moving forward and being productive with that information. Okay, so with that said, every 90 days, we do a time audit. And on that time audit, we are measuring positive or negative ROI. Okay, so when I look at something, I say to myself, well, I did this for 4 hours. Did it produce me? Did I get a return? Right. So if I spend 4 hours on it, what is my time worth? Right. I hope you start to know like you have a minimum dollar amount where you're like, I will not do anything for less than X per hour. Right. And if it's less than that, I'm going to have to delegate it. So you want to start to ask yourself, wow, I spent 3 hours on that. Right. Maybe you know that your dollar amount is $200 per hour. So if you're like, I spent 3 hours, that was $600 of my time. Was that worth it? Right. You have to start to track your time like that. Your time is money. Right? Don't forget it. Okay. People say that phrase, but then maybe you don't know what to do with it. That's what you do with it. You start adding up. Would it make sense for you to do it? Okay. Now, what's funny is I had to stop doing private one-on-one coaching. And the reason I had to stop doing it was because my hourly rate is so high because of what I can do and what I can produce. And if I just worked on one of my funnels and I tweak something by 3%, it could literally produce possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay. So when somebody says to me, Stacey, can I work with you privately? I'm like, listen, I would have to charge you so much money that I don't even know if I could give you that return in an hour with just you and me. I actually believe you'll get a better value in my 6-month coaching program than I think you'll get with for an hour of my time. So I feel out of integrity even letting somebody, because people have said to me, no, literally name your price and I will pay it. I'm like, I, in good conscience, do not feel good charging you that amount, right? I think there are better ways to spend your time and money. So just like I'm evaluating, is that the best use of my time? I also have to tell you, is that the best use of your time, right? It has to be a win-win. So we take this data and we use it to make informed decisions about where we go from here. So when you're in a funk, when you're in a plateau, that's a really great way to realize, first of all, when you're in a financial plateau with your business, like, man, you're like, we just cannot crack $100,000 a month. Like it is just like 98, 99, 97, 87. Like we just can't get past 100K, right? Whatever it is, that tells me it's time for a time audit. It's time for a reset of your calendar because you keep doing the same thing and you're expecting to jump. And you're not going to have the same habits, behaviors, actions, and jump to another revenue stream, right? Revenue level. So we have to change your behavior if you want to change the outcomes. So time audits and really reassessing that time on the ROI is going to help you. So the things you want to be implementing when it comes to ROI is you want to identify your key performance indicators, right? KPIs. It is one of the biggest things we teach. It seems to be one of the most confusing things people, I should say, they have the most questions about it, right? So people are always like, okay, what should my KPIs be? We have to do a KPI monthly workshop. We do it every single month in our members portal because so many people are like, what would a front desk KPI be? What would my therapist KPI be? What would my dog groomer's KPI? People just don't like really grasp that. And I say this because I really want you, number one, KPIs are crucial. Like it is what drives our business so quickly. We hit Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies in America the last 2 years. The way we're going, I mean, we have a good shot of probably next year too. And I'm telling you, KPIs are like the secret sauce to getting not just me running, but the team running collectively. So identify what those are and make sure you've picked the right ones because I've just seen so many business owners get confused on this that I really want you being positive. It's actually moving the needle forward. Okay. Then analyze how your time affects these KPIs. Where should I put my time, energy, etc. Right? So it was interesting. I was watching Full Swing on Netflix. I brought it up in a recent podcast. You're probably like, oh my gosh, she's obsessed. But I'm just in the middle of the series. And this guy on there, Rory, took a lot of time this year being the spokesperson for the PGA Tour. And the first couple of episodes, he's not playing very well. And he's like, wow, I realized what my behavior was this year. is hurting my golf game. Like I can't be the main interview person, right? When my golf skills are like getting pushed, right? So you want to analyze, how is my time allocation affecting these? Well, he's saying, I don't think I can keep doing that. Like this is hurting my KPIs, right? And so many times we don't stop to analyze what's going on. We're like, yeah, we're in a slump. And then we start digging and looking. We're like, well, you're in a slump because you stopped doing this. And when you stop doing this is what happened. Okay. So from there, we reset that calendar every 90 days based on the ROI, right? This ensures that your calendar is tight. It is jam packed with like the 80%, like the highest revenue generating tasks. High value only. Okay. High value only. Get rid of the things you know you should be doing. Even if you're like, well, listen, this is going to take me 30 minutes, or I could train somebody to take me 90 minutes. I'm just going to do the 30-minute. No, because then you're going to have to do it next week and the week after and the week after. And if you could just stop and train somebody for 90 minutes and you never have to do it again, right? That is how you get to the next level. If you are falling prey to that, I'll just do it myself mentality, you're on a hamster wheel, friend. You got to get off of it. Okay. So inside of Well Oiled, we have our clients do a time audit immediately when joining the program. So we want to see, like, first week, where are you spending your time? Okay. Because when I see that data, that is when I can understand, where do we go next? If you don't even know, and I'm telling you, you think you know, you're like, no, I absolutely know. I have a leader. So not only do we have a time audit for the owner, we have them for the employee. So a leader is going through a time audit right now. And he said, oh man, I know what I'm doing, but when I count it, when I add it up, when I add up, I'm like, I'm spending 4 hours on this. I'm spending 6 hours on this. I'm working till. You really don't realize what you're doing until you see it. So what's funny is I interviewed Dr. Jillian like a few months ago, and she was one of our contest winners for our time saver, our basically one of our playbooks. And she saved 25 hours a week. Now, what's crazy is she said, I would never had said that I worked more than like 40, 50 hours. She's like, I really felt like I worked a normal schedule. But when I was forced to write down everything I did, she's like, Stacy, it was between 80 and 90 hours a week, and I didn't know. How in your right mind can you not know? And it's because our normal for business owners, right? Like we just think it is normal. So we don't think anything of it. We don't figure out the math. We don't count the email checking Saturday morning. We don't count the phone call we took Friday night or during dinner, right? Whereas when we do a time audit, you have to write down every single thing you do that was work related, right? All of a sudden you start to get awareness. Okay, so do me a big favor, hit the like button if you're hearing some great reminders of things you need to put in place in the next, I would say, 90 days or so. Number 4, harnessing the power of hyper focus. This is one of my words. Hyper focus, because it's just not good enough to be focused. You must be hyper focused. You must be laser focused. So the ultra productive business owner understands the importance of deep focused work. They practice hyper focus by eliminating distractions, right? Dedicating uninterrupted time to their most important tasks. Okay. So this is huge. Strategies for really trying to get that hyper focus. So number 1, create a distraction-free environment for important work. So my phone is sitting right here. It is on silent, okay? But I also turn it this way, okay? So it sits on my desk this way. Why? Because if it sits on my desk this way and it lit up, it didn't ring because that's on silent, but it lit up and I see there's a text message. What do I want to do? Don't do it. Okay. So what is a distraction-free work environment? A couple things that I have is over here are doors, just like to go into my living room space. And I have curtains. Okay. So first I was like, oh, let's get doors so the kids don't just like barge in. Well, they're clear glass doors, right? So what did my kids do? They're like knocking. Hi, mom. I'm like, I've literally been like try to get my hand out of the things like you can't see on camera, but I'm like, I'm on camera, right? So I eventually had to get curtains. And the curtains are this new way of saying, if the curtains are closed, mom is busy. So they know you can't open the door and there's nothing they can do if the curtain's in front of it, right? So that is a distraction-free work environment. It is signaled to them she is recording something. She's on an important phone call. You can't come in. When I open the curtains and open the door, it says mom's free. Okay. So what are you doing to create a distraction-free work environment? The second thing in this same strategizing, right, is to use time blocking techniques. So I just with using this as an example, I created back to back 2 YouTube videos where I wrote out what I want to say. Okay. So I wrote those back to back, not camera ready because no one was seeing me. Right. So I was wearing a little bit more comfortable clothing. My hair was in a ponytail. I had no makeup on. And I'm just like in my writing mode. And I'm just writing that morning. Okay. Today, I am in recording mode. So now today I'm actually recording 3 back to back. Right. So I get ready once, right? I show up, I get an outfit on, I actually go and change. Yes, I change. So it looks like it's a totally different day. And then again, one of the reasons I do that is because you might think, oh, I already saw her in this outfit. I saw this video, but I don't want you to think that it's a totally different video. So I'm literally changing every outfit, right? And then I'm getting back on camera, recording the next one, getting all of these uploaded, right? And then they'll go batch edit them. So really putting these time block sections to schedule focus work and to stay in that same thing. If I went to create and record, it's just a lot of back and forth. And also as a female, I am then having to get ready more often than I would need to, right? And that saves me time by not having to get ready as much. Okay. Setting clear intentions before each work section, right? So like every morning, like what are my clear intentions? So I have it written down, but I also have it in our project management software. So I use Monday.com. Right. And in Monday, I'm looking at what did I say for 30 days? What's on my weekly? What I want to get done today. And at the end of each day, I go in there and I check off like what I've gotten done. And I watch that go down as the week continues to move on. And then really resisting the temptation of shiny object syndrome by staying committed to your goals. So Q3 was a record quarter for us, which is crazy because Q3 is always our lowest quarter of the year. Summer is not great for my businesses. It's just not a time when business is like at its peak, right? My moms are busy. They're doing stuff with their kiddos just like me. And we had a record quarter. And what's funny is we didn't have any new projects on our to-do list. We basically said, do everything we did in Q2 better. That was it. No shiny objects, no new goals, no new products, no new promotions. Let's just do everything better we did last month. Record month. Not even record month, record quarter in the history of our business. Okay. Q4, we have said the same thing. Let's not break something that's not broken, right? Why are we trying to fix anything right now? Let's just do better than Q4, than Q3. Let's just do the stuff we did and let's try to outperform it one more time. Okay. So we are shooting for consistency here in the growth that we're having by just like keeping the machine well oiled. Okay. Number 5. Okay. This is a big one, the biggest one. Mastering the art of delegation. Delegation is scary for a lot of people. In fact, I get nervous even teaching hiring, talking about hiring, because there's not a lot of people that talk about it because there's not a lot of people searching for it. Okay. You know what people search for? They want to know marketing and sales and how do I sell more? They don't want to hire. They don't want a team. I've literally had somebody, I was at a party in Vegas for a friend. And this person came up to me and she's like, oh my goodness, how's your business? Like, it looks like it's blowing up. Like, what's going on? What are you doing? And I was like, oh my gosh, we are doing so well. Business is great. I think we have like, at the time, I think I had like 20 employees. And she goes, what? Oh my gosh, no. Okay, I'm going to help you figure out how to get smaller with your team. And I was like, no, things are great. First of all, she knew I was at a much larger revenue scale than her. Okay. So at the time, I think it was like 3 times bigger than her in revenue. And she wanted to teach me how to get my team smaller. I'm like, listen, my life is great. It's actually been the best it has been in a long time because of the leaders I just hired. So my life is good. Our profit's good. Revenue is going. We keep hitting the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in America. Why are you trying to help me change it? And it's because she has ideas in her head that a team is a nightmare. A team is a headache, right? She has all of these lies that she's telling herself that she believes, maybe because other people have told her that, or maybe because she doesn't have that skill set. So she's really learning that for herself that like, man, team is not fun, right? So I believe that this is the most crucial skill set of highly productive business owners is they understand that they need to learn how to delegate. They aren't just naturally good at it. I sucked at delegating. I was awful at delegating. Okay. I like to be in charge. I like to be the boss. I have unrealistic expectations. I would just like throw things at people and then I would get the results back and I'd be like, this is not good. Right. I was not good at delegating. I've had to study it and learn how to be better. I still have work to do. Okay. But these business owners, okay, the highest producers, we understand that our time is best spent on high level strategic activities. And we are willing to let go of other smaller tasks that can be handled. Okay. Our high standards are making us too good for some of those smaller tasks, not because we're too good to like sweep the floor, because I can't be a CEO doing a job that maybe costs me 20, $30 an hour to hire somebody to do. I don't have the luxury of only making $20 to $30 an hour. I would go in debt immediately. As a CEO, I actually have to bring in like thousands of dollars an hour for my business to function. Okay. You probably do too, but you are settling for lower numbers than you realize. Okay. So here are just like 4 quick tips to effectively delegating. So, number 1, identify the tasks that don't require unique skills or expertise. Like literally, if I could show you how to do something in 5 steps and say, step 1, do this, step 2, do this. Okay. We do not need a unique skill set or somebody experienced to know how to do that. Pretty much anybody that can follow directions can do it. That has to get off your plate immediately. Okay. Number 2, invest time in training and empowering your team to take on more responsibilities. So for me, Tuesday is my one-on-one meeting with all of my leaders. Every single Tuesday, I'm investing one-on-one time with each of them to help them, empower them, right, to take more and more on in the company. You want to establish clear communication channels and expectations for delegated tasks, okay? So with clear communication, I want to be able to say, here's what I need. Here's how it's supposed to be done, right? Now, some people say, I never say the how. I just tell them what I want at the end. Okay, well, some of your people aren't smart enough or educated enough, or you haven't trained them enough to know how to do it. So you cannot just say, oh, do this by Friday. They're like, and how do I do that, right? Some people need step by step. This is how you do it. Be done by Friday, right? Now, some of your people are amazing and they have the skill set, and you can say, I don't care how you do it, just get it done by Friday. And they will. Great. So you need to make sure that you establish these clear communication channels of here's what I've delegated, right? Here's where it needs to be done. Here's what I expect. Here is the deadline, right? Here's how long it should take you, anything like that. Okay. Then number 4, the hardest, you have to let go and trust the team, trust that individual. If you hired, right, for values and their characteristics and all of that, right, then you know, okay, they are like, if I value somebody who is on time, we just did a sample project for a person I want to hire, and they turned the sample project in 1 minute before the deadline. No. I am real. And here's the thing. If she would have said, I know the deadline is in 1 minute, I'm submitting it now. This is not like me. This came up and this would never happen in the future, I would maybe have considered it. But she just turned it in like, done, finished. I beat your deadline. You asked for 5 and I gave it to you at 4:59. Pat on my back. That's how she acted. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. I can't trust that she is going to be somebody that gets things on time. Now you might be thinking, but Stacey, she was on time. Yes, but she is somebody that waits to the last minute. And sometimes when you wait to the last minute, things come up and she may not get it done, right? I mean, other candidates got it done like days before her, okay? So be careful. So you trust your team based off of like what you've done in the interview process and the sample project and how they worked with them, right? And then you need to really resist the urge to micromanage. So when you use a really good project management software, we're on Monday.com. When you use something like that, you can easily delegate and they're checking off their statuses. So I don't have to micromanage. I can go in and say, oh, she's working on this. Oh, she's finished that. Okay, cool, right? I don't have to talk to anybody and I get to see an update. So that is going to help me. Like, it almost is like for the micromanager who still needs to micromanage, you can micromanage and they won't feel it, right? Now, as you are micromanaging the project management software, you're going to start to gain their trust because you're like, oh, good, she's in there. Perfect. This is great, right? So you can see it, and that will help you build your trust. Now, anytime you don't trust to delegate or to let go, I really see it as a lack of trust in yourself as the owner. Either you don't trust you hired the right people, or you don't trust you have the right systems for the right people to do them. So people think delegation problems are because there's no good people out there and nobody wants to work these days and no one has a good work ethic and blah, 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 blah. Not true, not true, not true. My team, you guys, my team is so phenomenal. I can just tell you, like, it's not true, right? We had to put, and when people come into our program, we had to make them sign something that says you're not going to steal our employees. Because when people come in and they see how good my team is, they're like, oh my goodness, she has unicorns. Let me go grab her unicorns. Like people have said, I'll pay you more than Stacy's paying you if you come to me, right? So that's a red flag. We don't allow that. But I also say to this person, I'm like, listen, we can just teach you how to find the unicorns. Like this is not that hard, right? But what's happening is you're using these outside problems and you're not realizing it's about you. You're not trusting your hiring skills to bring on great people. You're not trusting your training skills to educate them and know how to get the job done. You're not trusting the system you have because it might be just in your head. There might be no system at all. So your lack of trust in yourself and the way you've grown the business is now hurting your delegation and its delegation skills, and it's keeping you on this hamster wheel. And you're working way too much, or you're keeping everything on your plate, or you feel like you're the only one that's really owning anything. You're owning the goals, you're owning the numbers. Nobody cares that you're a negative profit margin. Nobody cares you're breaking even. Nobody cares that money isn't good. They're like, listen, I've been here 3 years. It's time for my raise. I need my raise. You're like, what money? Where is this coming from? Right? So I see it all the time. The more you can start to develop your skill sets in hiring, training, managing, the more you're going to feel the relief of growing and scaling your business. Okay, in the comments below, tell me, how big is your team? Is it just you? Do you have 100 people? Fill me in. And do you feel like, at what level do you feel like you started to really master delegation, or are you still working on it? So maybe you're like 7 years in, all of a sudden it clicked for me, or 5 years in, or 3 years in, right? Or you might be like, I'm 20 years in and I still need help with this. I would love to see it in the comments below. If you have any questions, please post. But I'll tell you this, by implementing these 5 strategies, you will drastically increase your productivity as well as your team's. And you will be like, how am I making more money in less time? Because it's possible, okay? The goal isn't to do more, it's to accomplish more. Do you see that? Not doing more. So I could check out today 2 hours early, but still accomplish more than I did yesterday because of the level of impact and the opportunity of revenue generating activities in what I chose to do today, right? So it's to accomplish more of what truly matters for your business success. All right, friends, that is it for the Well-Oiled Operations podcast today. Make sure you like, subscribe, rate, share, review, all the things. It means the world to us. Wherever you watch or listen, thank you so much. My name is Stacy Tuschl. I'm your guide to streamlining and scaling your business, and I'll see you in the next video.